It's the Channel Mom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
Brought to you by Therapon Skin Health, helping moms have healthy, youthful-looking skin for 20 years.
She is the author of Professionalizing Motherhood, and that pretty much says it all. Motherhood is a profession, whether you have one career as a mom or an outside career plus your career as a mom. The book's author, Jill Savage, is also the author of My Heart's at Home and Living with Less So Your Family Has More. I like that. Plus the soon-to-be-released No More Perfect Moms. Jill and her husband, Mark, have 5 children, 3 who are married, 1 granddaughter, and 1 grandson. Jill's also the founder and director of Hearts at Home, an organization that encourages moms. And I recently tracked her down at the Hearts at Home convention in Rochester that I've been talking about, with thousands of moms in attendance there. In her interview, she said some things that might surprise you about mommy wars, where moms tend to compete with one another and what to do about it, and also shared a story of her own, her somewhat unbelievable mistake as a mom. Here now is my interview with Jill Savage, the founder of Hearts at Home, at the Hearts at Home convention.
Well, Hearts at Home really started out of my own need as a mom. I really felt more equipped to be a music teacher than I did to be a mom. And so I had gone to conferences for teaching music, and I always walked away feeling equipped, better equipped for the classroom and what I could do with the students. And then I became a full-time mom in that season of my life, and I thought, okay, wait a minute, well, so where's the mom conference, you know? And so I was really struggling myself, feeling that I was ill-equipped for this motherhood journey. And so I went to our church and said, what if what if we did a conference for moms? And the goal was it would be a one-time event. That was the goal. And so we had our first conference in 1994. We expected 400 moms to attend. We had 1,100 moms that walked through the door, and they were from 10 states. So we were astonished at the need, and really it was that day that I realized this wasn't a one-time event. This was really the birth of a ministry. So what we intended for a one-time event, God intended for the birth of a ministry. And since that time, Hearts at Home has been all about encouraging, educating, and equipping moms.
What are moms hungry for right now?
Well, I think moms are hungry for, first, to know that they're normal. I think more than anything. And we're incredibly honest at Hearts at Home. We talk about our mess-ups. We talk about our kids' mess-ups. We talk about real stuff, that life is hard. I mean, we just don't sugarcoat it. And I think that is very refreshing to moms to go, okay, I am normal. I am not the only one struggling with this. I'm not the only one that isn't quite sure what to do with this. And so I think that's the first thing that they want. I think the second thing they want is they want education. As women, we naturally want to learn more. We want to get better. And so I think moms really want education on marriage and parenting and taking care of themselves. And so I believe that's the other reason. And I think there is a third reason that Hearts has done so well, and that is, 50 years ago, you lived near your grandmother and you lived near your mother, and you began to raise children, and you had the natural mentoring process of the previous generations. You no longer have that anymore. We are very disconnected from our families of origin. We have people that live very far away because jobs have taken them there, schooling has taken them away. And so there is no longer a natural mentoring process that happens because you're not living necessarily next to that generation before you. And so I think moms are hungry for that. They're looking for what they've been lacking in that mentoring process.
Yeah, some moms in society don't want to be held to that Betty Crocker standard, and it almost makes them angry when they look at the old June Cleaver photos and stuff. I remember there was this whole campaign against June Cleaver, like I can't be that mom, I don't want to be that mom. How about that they resent that, but also that in our modern society, we've kind of stopped honoring motherhood. The things we put in the spotlight are career women, women that are rich and famous, the movie star women, all that. And so motherhood isn't really lifted up that much. So they don't necessarily want to believe that they need to be mentored and that motherhood is important and they should invest themselves in motherhood. How do you bring back moms to that place that we were at 100 years ago, which is, hey, yeah, it is important, and I'm so sorry nobody in society is honoring it, but we are.
I think that the way that we help women to honor motherhood is first, telling them this is important enough for you to set aside time to take for yourself and to be serious about it, to be an intentional mom. And to be an intentional mom doesn't mean you have to be a June Cleaver. I mean, it's more than that. It's recognizing, number one, that this is a short season of time. That's one of the things I try to say to the moms almost every year. You cannot go back and do this again. You can't go back and mother your children again. You can go back and have a career, you can go back and volunteer again, but you can't go back and mother your kids. So you have to be intentional in this season. And that doesn't mean you can't have a career, and doesn't mean you don't volunteer, but it means that you recognize you're in a unique season of time. So I think that helping to cast that vision for moms helps them to realize this is important. And the other thing is, you know, we talk here at Hearts at Home that motherhood is a profession, to think of it that way. Because when a woman thinks of it as a profession, she approaches it differently. So whether it is her sole profession, she's a stay-at-home mom and that is what she does. And we encourage a mom like that to say, when somebody says, what do you do? Instead of saying, oh, I'm just a mom. We encourage her to say, I'm a wife and a mom and I love my job. And to think of it as a job, a career choice. And for a mom that works outside the home, you got 2 careers. They are important. And when moms realize that, they go, okay, I wasn't thinking of it that way. I have a friend, and she said, you know, until I read your book, Professionalizing Motherhood, she said, I never thought about that applying to me, because Professionalizing Motherhood originally was written for stay-at-home moms. But she said, and she's a full-time working mom, she said, what I realized is I have 2 careers, and I was looking at the one I do outside of the home as my career, and my family was getting my leftovers. And she said, reading that and thinking of motherhood as a profession has caused me to give my family more of my best and to be a more intentional mom.
That brings me to your new book, because there's the naturally competitive nature in women. What do we do? And I know this is near and dear to your heart, about all of the moms who are critical of each other, and I think even in this political climate, we've got these sort of conservative moms that think you should be a certain way, and these kind of liberal moms that say, oh, don't you dare, and then we've all these competing moms, when in fact we should be supporting each other and mentoring each other and cheering each other on.
Absolutely, and being okay when we make different choices than each other. And so that is my heartbeat. It really is. I have a new book coming out called No More Perfect Moms. And really, it's a call to action for moms to stop judging themselves and to stop judging each other. That's really what it is. And it is equipping moms to first change their expectations, to learn to love their real but imperfect life, to love their real but imperfect husband, to love their real but imperfect kids, to be okay with their real but imperfect homes, and to make peace with their real but imperfect bodies. And so it really is looking at all the aspects of motherhood that so often we look at it and we go, I don't measure up to that perfection. The perfection we see in media, the perfection we see in other women's lives. And in fact, what we often see is we will see somebody else's, like when you're on Facebook, you see somebody else's highlight reels. You don't see their behind the scenes. And so it's a call to stop comparing your insides to other women's outsides. Because really, that's what we do. We compare our insides, our hurts, our struggles, our failures to other women's outsides. They look good on the outside. They're kind of cleaned up and they've got a mask on. Oh, life is good. But really what we need to do, if we're going to compare, I mean, it's best to say let's not compare, but reality we will. Let's compare insides to insides. I think we'll find that we're mostly all struggling with the same stuff. We're really... we really are the same, and we have the same passions. We may just accomplish it a little bit differently than one another. And to be okay with the fact that a mother who mothers different than you do does not make her wrong, and it doesn't make you wrong.
Right, and you can, if you're united, it's going to be a lot better for everyone.
It is.
In the last couple minutes, you admit that we should all realize that we're imperfect and that we shouldn't judge one another. Can you share with moms, if you're so into this imperfect thing, how indeed you are imperfect, so they can say, okay, she's real?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, which 1,000 story do I share? Yeah. Well, you know what? I shared here at the conference, I shared that, you know, you do have those days where you feel like super mom. Like I had a day last week where I helped my husband with the gutters. I rocked my grandbaby to sleep. I helped my son with his homework. I made dinner for the family, all within like a 1.5 hour time period. I'm like, I am super mom, you know? And then it was like an hour later that somebody was asking, we had company, and we were commenting on our 16-year-old had been driving for a month now, and he said, you know, so do you make your kids pay for their own auto insurance? Do they pay for their own gas? You know, what do you do when your kids start driving? And I said, yeah, if they, you know, go out recreationally, they pay for their own gas and they have to pay for their own auto insurance. And then I stopped for a minute and I said, auto insurance? You have to put them on the auto insurance in order for them to be covered. And he had been driving for an entire month, and I had never remembered to put him on the auto insurance. So all of a sudden, I went from super mom to absolute fail, to make sure that my kid had insurance and he was driving, he was protected. There have been other times where I've yelled at my kids and I've had to go back and apologize. I haven't handled a situation well. And so we talk about that. We've had difficulties in our marriage, and I've tried to be very open about that so that others know they're not alone.
What do you think this is going to help moms within their life? Is there some stuff that's just going to help them breathe a sigh of relief, help them to lean on something other than competition? What are you hoping to solve for moms with your new book?
I think more than anything, I want them to have freedom. I want them to have freedom in authenticity and to take off the masks, to be okay being honest about the things that we excel in and the things that we fail in, the places where we fall short, and to be okay with that. And ultimately, I want women to learn to see themselves through God's eyes, because our failures do not define us. Our God defines us. Our failures and our successes change every day. Our God never changes. And that is ultimately what I want women to understand and be able to experience absolute freedom and authenticity in Jesus Christ.
How do moms find out more about Hearts at Home, about your new book, etc.?
Well, the best thing for them to do is go to the web. I have a blog at jillsavage.org, and I blog daily. It's a great place. A great group of women hang out there, and we have great conversations. Heartsathome.org is the website where you'll learn about Hearts at Home conferences and more information about that. And then nomorepperfectmoms.com is where you can actually learn more about ordering the book. And you can share your own No More Perfect Mom story as well, and read other moms who are sharing their imperfect mom stories.
Our thanks to Jill Savage of Hearts at Home. You can check them out at heartsathome.org. She does a wonderful thing in encouraging and advising moms, and she's got great advice, as you can tell.